Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Morning After Recap Show brought to you by irishsportsdaily.com. I am Greg Flammang. It is the morning after Notre Dame's 34-24 victory over their rival, the USC Trojans. Notre Dame moves to 5-2. They came into the game ranked 13 in the country, and with a number of top 10 teams losing yesterday, it looks like Notre Dame's going to bump up possibly into the top 10 themselves and into the driver's seat for a playoff berth. I think the chances of them making the playoffs at this point, should they win out, are well above 50%. They are going to have tough games coming up against Pitt. They're going to have tough games coming up against Navy, right? Let me just check here. Navy is currently 6-0, right? Obviously, they have their schedule that they usually have. Pitt is currently 5-2, just like USC is right now. They've lost to West Virginia and Louisville. And they've beaten 3 straight opponents: Syracuse, Florida State, and Boston College. They've got NC State and Stanford prior to hosting Notre Dame on November 15th. So they might even be ranked at that point. So they've got a couple of tough games coming up. Notre Dame does, but they are in the driver's seat against with a big win against their rival USC. And obviously it was a great night for the program. I mean, you look at the program, right, and the recruiting night that they had, a bunch of 5-star recruits on campus. Everyone's talking about Kamen Spell, the 5-star running back who was previously committed to Penn State, comes to Notre Dame, sees Jeremiyah Love and Jadarian Price run for, I think it was 315 combined yards between the two of them. 2 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns rushing. Jadarian Price obviously has the 100-yard kickoff return for a touchdown after USC had taken the lead, and then Notre Dame never looked back from there. So it's a great night for Notre Dame and their program. It's a great night for the fans. That it obviously got very fortunate with the weather. There was touch and go there for a little bit. I was talking kind of throughout the day with Dave Caulfield, the weatherman for ABC 57. He was kind of keeping me updated, as well as the tweets that he was sending out. And he noted the storm that came in after there was the storm that caused, kind of a delay in getting people into the stadium and the players coming out for warm-ups. There was that storm that had lightning associated with it. Once that passed, the storm that came after, he had noted that there was no electricity that came with that. And that played out, right? It rained in the second half. But first of all, I don't know that it rained hard, but it wasn't like a downpour, like a complete, poop show. And so obviously that, they got the game in, and that's great. So I think, the program, after a tough start to the year, you start 0-2, things really have to break for you, and things have broken for Notre Dame. So it's going to be a great bye week, I think. Obviously going into the bye, they got to get players healthy. Billy Strouth had the lower leg injury that he's dealing with, so we're going to have to get some news on that. Marcus Freeman, because it's a bye, I don't know that matter of fact, I'm very certain that he won't be talking on Monday, so it's going to be a little bit before we get some news on Billy Strouth. But it's going to be a fun show, talking about your comments, talking about everything that you're feeling, and we'll go over stats and grades and all those other things. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in. If you like what you hear today, hit that like, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. So whenever it is we go live, links in the podcast in the description below. As always, the show is brought to you by ESQ Clothing, founded by Notre Dame alum Ge Wang. He's Chicago's go-to for the best custom suits, shirts, and sport coats. Notre Dame reloaded. They've reloaded this season. And now it's time for you to reload your wardrobe and add the perfect suit, sport coat, tuxedo, or casual jacket for fall. ESQ's master tailors combine next-level craftsmanship with the finest fabrics to deliver a fit that's built just for you. Now with showrooms both downtown Chicago and in Winnetka. Book your custom fitting at esqclothing.com. Step into confidence with Chicago's finest. Mention ISD at your appointment and receive 10% off your entire purchase. That's esqclothing.com. Let's get into some comments in the chat here. Domer Head says, obviously playoffs are in the picture, but after last night, I see the season as a success regardless of outcome. Lincoln Riley is such a turd. FUSC. I think I feel similar, Domer Head. I think, I was thinking about this yesterday. I mean, you're always on the high when you beat your rival, right? And I think because of the tension that goes along with the game right now, it's not scheduled beyond this year. I think there's traction on, getting 26 and 27 figured out. Personally, I don't really love the idea of Notre Dame acquiescing to USC's demands when USC can't beat Notre Dame. And it's kind of them. Like, I don't, it's kind of one of those things. Like, I feel like USC is kind of making an ultimatum when it comes to this stuff. Like, Notre Dame is conceding to them. What is USC conceding to Notre Dame? I don't really understand that part of it. But whatever the case may be, there's tension there, right? The Chad Bowden situation obviously brings tension. So look, you beat your rival in the way that they beat them too. They beat them up. I mean, they absolutely bludgeon them in the running game. Notre Dame runs for 300 plus yards. USC runs for 68 yards with the sack yardage on a wet night, right? When it's wet, rainy, it's windy, and you beat them up. So it's obviously the vibes are extremely high. They're as high as they've been, right? They're as high as they've been this season. It's hopefully Notre Dame has their path and they can continue on that path. I mean, it was the same deal last year, right? They could not, they couldn't drop a game after NIU. That was clear last year, and they didn't, and they ran the table. So this team has the opportunity to do the same thing. So, vibes are very high. Vamos Irish, thank you for being here, Oscar. Solid Verbal calling this game a clunker. Both feels right and offensive. I mean, was it a clunker? I mean, the teams were moving the ball fairly well. I mean, a clunker. I mean, USC had 396 yards of offense. Notre Dame had 442, 34-24. In what way is that a clunker? I don't know. I don't know that the Solid Verbal is like. I think Ty Hildebrandt's like stressing over Penn State right now. I mean, teach their own. You want to call it a clunker, that's fine. It's Notre Dame and USC and Notre Dame Stadium in the rain. I don't know about that. But it is what it is. Ryan, I'll say Ryan C. What do you think about the play of Love and Price? Both have looked good this season. Go Irish. Thanks for being here, Ryan. I mean, unbelievable game, right? I mean, Jeremiyah Love has a worldie, as people like to say. 24 carries, 228 yards, and a touchdown. He also had 37 yards receiving. Jadarian Price, 13 carries, 87 yards, and a touchdown, plus the 100-yard kickoff return. In the last 2 years, I put the tweet out because it's just an unbelievable stat. They have 600. Let me just get it right. I think it was 610 yards from scrimmage, both rushing and receiving, on 70 touches. They just absolutely destroying 70 offensive touches, 610 yards, and of course the 100-yard kickoff return for Jadarian Price. 5 total touchdowns in the last 2 years. 2 players combined for 610 yards. It was interesting, the game plan that USC came up with defensively. I mean, they sat in too high for the majority of the game, and I tweeted out, like, if they're going to sit in too high, you just run at them for as long as they're going to do that. And I think the teams have done the opposite thing with Notre Dame this year. And, this is a credit to CJ Carr. Obviously he has a bad performance, right? 16-26, 136 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Easily his worst game. He missed a number of easy throws, which is uncharacteristic of him. But I think the work that he did in the previous 6 games or whatever it is causes USC to come up with a game plan the way that they did. I mean, Notre Dame has not been as efficient in the running game as, many people would have expected coming into this season. Jeremiyah Love hadn't had that huge game yet. But the way that Notre Dame has thrown the ball in the earlier part of the season caused USC to say, we're going to take away that. We don't want them to beat us with explosives in the passing game. We're going to sit in too high, and we're going to win with our 7 up front. And they couldn't. Notre Dame ran it all over them. So in that sense, CJ Carr had a hand in the way that Notre Dame ran the ball because of how well he's played earlier in the year. And so, Notre Dame only rushed for 140 yards, I think it was last week, and people were frustrated about that. CJ Carr throws for 342. Well, USC sees Notre Dame as the most explosive passing team in the country by the numbers. And so they say, okay, we're not going to get beat that way. And instead, they got beat with Notre Dame handing the ball to their two best players who have killed them each of the last 2 years. And Jadarian Price has killed USC for 3 years when he had the 100-yard kickoff return in 2023 as well. So, it's one of those pick your poison type situations. USC decided we can win up front with our guys and we don't have to bring that extra player down. And they were wrong. And Notre Dame was able to just hand the ball to their best players and make it happen. So it's 100% a credit to CJ Carr for the way he's played. It's a credit to the offensive line. Offensive line had a great day. Joe Otting with a very, very good performance. Let me check out where he graded here. By the way, looking at the grades just before I get to this, Jason Onye, he's had a tough season to this point. Played 38 snaps, a 90 grade, the highest graded defender on the Notre Dame team. He had 2 pressures, 3 tackles, 3 run stops. So all of his tackles and all of his contributions in this game were failures for the USC offense. So that is great to see from him. You know, he was the one who got the extended snaps because of the injury to Gabe Rubio, and he came up big in a moment when they had to have it. Jeremiyah Love, Notre Dame's 3 highest graded players. Jeremiyah Love 1, Jadarian Price 2, Joe Otting 3, Gerby Lambert 4, Anthony Knapp 5. So 3 offensive linemen and your 2 running backs are the highest graded players in this game, led by Joe Otting. So obviously it's a huge performance from him. You know, I did the breakdown of the way he played against NC State, and a lot of people were kind of, there was a lot of negativity, I'll say, around Joe Otting and the way he played. I thought he played okay. I didn't think he played great or poorly or anything like that. Just had an okay game in limited reps. He came in last night and played a great game. So good for Joe Otting in his first start. Byron Boyce, thank you for being here. What do you think of Leonard Moore's performance on Saturday? He has some Bobby Taylor traits. What do you think? Bobby Taylor traits. He's got some Ben Morrison traits. Basically all the traits that you would like in your favorite player. They were 3 of 5 throwing against him for 36 yards. He had 1 pass broken up. Let me look at him specifically against. I can look up his stats in coverage. Oh, wait, let's go back here. I can look at him specifically against, I can look at the coverage matchups against Makai Lemon. There you go, versus coverage matchups. Leonard Moore versus Makai Lemon. Let's see, how many times? Oh, it doesn't say how many reps he took against Makai Lemon, but he was on Makai Lemon for most of the game. 3 targets for Lemon, 2 catches, 28 yards. He gave up the slant, and 1 first down and 1 pass broken up for Leonard Moore. Makai Lemon had a 57.6 grade when Leonard Moore was covering him. I mean, he shut him down. I mean, it was we'd have to look at the total number of snaps he had against him, but I mean, he shut him down. Makai Lemon was not a non-factor in the sense that, obviously he caught the long pass, but that came against Christian Gray. It was 1 of 1 against Christian Gray for 42 yards. And that was the bulk of the work that Makai Lemon did in this game. I mean, Leonard Moore was absolutely key to Notre Dame winning the game. And here's the other part too. You know what? Credit to Chris Ash for that. In saying, we're going to put you on him. They didn't. I thought they would try to bracket him a little bit more and give up some things, with Dallas Golden and, giving up underneath stuff so you didn't give up the one over the top. Chris Ash said, no, we're going to put our best player on him. And Leonard Moore, who is not playing in the slot, he plays on the outside, whether it's to the boundary or whether it's to the field. He played in the slot against Makai Lemon and shut him down. Makai Lemon was the best wide receiver by the numbers in college football, and he just did the business. So incredible performance. He's going to be a first-team All-American. I think he's going to be unanimous first-team All-American because he's got the numbers. And obviously he missed a game there, but in the game against Texas A&M, he has the interception. He comes back and has 2 interceptions against Boise State. He shuts down Makai Lemon the way he did. The sky's the limit for Leonard Moore. Unbelievable football player. Jason Smith says, I think we survived the inedible game where CJ looks like a freshman. Yeah, I mean, he was pressing, right? I mean, clearly he's missing passes that he doesn't normally miss. The third down play is, I mean, him pressing, right, and him being stubborn and not wanting to give up on a play. He wants a touchdown. He wants to make a play happen. Obviously, he can't do what he did. Notre Dame has an opportunity to get points there. Can't just give the ball away like that. But I said it on the instant reaction show last night. Just because these players are paid now and they're paid very well doesn't mean they're not 19 years old and 20 years old. They're still young in their careers in dealing with the type of, I'll say, pressures. I mean, the emotions of playing your rival at night in a game that you've got to win. Notre Dame's season was on the line. This was essentially a playoff game for Notre Dame. And so, we know CJ Carr is someone who gets up for things, right? I mean, he's in camp, he couldn't do the stretching lines because he was so amped up. He had to move around and throw the ball. So obviously he gets amped up, right? And he's clearly someone who wants it so much that sometimes I think those emotions get to him. So he's got to work through that. He was able to work through that. The Notre Dame team was able to work through that. I think that was something that Marcus Freeman brought up yesterday. It's like he played through it and he made enough plays for Notre Dame to win the game. And so it's just the team's just got to move forward. CFB Hertz says Christian Gray seemed to be injured. I think Christian Gray was just tired and beaten up. They targeted him 15 times, 7 catches allowed for 155, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 1 pass broken up, 3 penalties. So they went at him, right? And they were going at him all the time. And when you're doing that and they're running you all over the place, I mean, I think he was just tired and beaten up personally. I don't know that he was hurt. Maybe there's something going on with him, right? As football players tend to have problems at this time of year. But he's a battler, man. Like, he's one thing that will not happen is he will not go in the tank. And obviously that's a very good trait for a cornerback. You don't need your guys going in a tank like that. And, he made a huge play in this game to get the interception. And so he'll fight through things, and he struggles against USC. Like, I think USC clearly has a good feel for him. I mean, I think in the last 2 years, they've thrown about 30 passes his direction. So, it is what it is. And they've got to work through that. If there is something going on with him physically, they have a bye coming up. He's got to get fresh. Because obviously, I mean, he's playing a huge percentage of the snaps this year, right? 78 snaps for him, or for 78 snaps for Gray, 78 for Schuler, 78 for Tay, 78 for Leonard Moore. So the 78 out of 78. So the top, starting secondary without nickel played 78 snaps. Dallas Golden played 53 of the 78 snaps. So, those guys they're logging a lot of reps over and over again. The whole defense is kind of moving in and out of the game, except for the secondary. That's something to monitor as we move forward in the season here. Looking at some other snap counts just while we're here. Drake Bowen, 68 snaps out of a possible 78. KVA, 49 out of a possible 78. Jared Dawson, 39. Jason Onye, 38. Hanish, 36. I mean, look, let's give credit to Al Washington as well, from the standpoint of, like, Dawson and Onye were playing better games than Heinisch. They played more snaps. So look, credit, right? I mean, not a bunch more snaps, like 39 to 38, 36. Jordan Botelho, 35 snaps. Osbury, 34. Jalen Sneed, 31. Big game from Jalen Sneed, 75 grade, 83.6 grade in run defense. Let's see. We've got 4 tackles and 2 run stops in this game. And you know what? Drake Bowen. Okay, so let's look. Defensive grades. Jason Onye, 90.2 defensive grade. Adon Schuler, second, 82.2. Drake Bowen, 80.5 grade. 81 tackling, 81 in coverage. He had the 5 tackles in the game, 1 run stop, was targeted 3 times, gave up 1 catch for 4 yards, 1 pass broken up, a 42.4 passer rating against. A phenomenal performance from Jake Bowen in this game when they absolutely needed him. Adon Schuler, he had 8 tackles, 6 run stops for Adon Schuler. I tweeted out they had really activated him in the running game. 6 run stops from your starting strong safety, Adon Schuler. So that is him getting up to the line of scrimmage. Sometimes you have a safety that has a lot of tackles and you don't, that's like a bad sign, right? Because they're getting in the secondary. Adon Schuler is making plays at the line of scrimmage. And a run stop is basically a run play that is a failure for the offense. So it's like a 1st and 10, you gain 8 yards or something like that. Like that is a failure, right? Adon Schuler making a huge impact in the running game. A great game for him in a game that they absolutely needed to have. Randall L. says, it's another beautiful Sunday morning here in SoCal. Notre Dame battered USC for the 3rd game in a row. You love to see it. Randall, I understand. I live in Southern California myself, and tomorrow's going to be a little bit better. I'm seeing some USC fans later today. That's going to be a fun time, right? The chest is out a little bit more. You got this thing going on. And the nice thing, Randall, and I don't know if this is the case for you, but you live in LA, right? I'm a Notre Dame fan, right? I'm a Notre Dame person. Also a Dodger fan. So we're doing good. We're doing good, right? Not everything is not everything is kind of I'm still a LA guy. So it is what it is. Vamos Irish says tremendous weather for Jamie U in the bend. Notre Dame's not going to blow it with Jamie, with the Yama, with the absolute Mr. University in the stands or in the press box. They're not going to do that to my guy Jamie. Randall L says, Greg, what did you think of USC running behind 2 tight end lead blockers? We couldn't stop it early, and then they came back to it. How should Notre Dame handle it? USC is a good running team. They've been a good running team all year, right? So, and they ran a lot more 12, which allowed, they ran a lot more 12. So you get Jalen Sneed with 31 snaps. You get where is Jaden Osbury with 34 snaps, right? Like these guys got on the field a bunch because of the fact that USC was running 12. So that's to their benefit. USC is a good running team, but look, if they're going to be at 29 for 68, if they're going to have 77 sack adjusted yards for 2.9 yards per carry, you're fine. That's a great rush defense performance. It's just, there's nothing really to complain about on that end. I'm going to do some stuff on the breakdowns and everything. I thought Notre Dame's linebackers in this game specifically were just so attacking, just darting into the backfield in a way that they haven't so far this year. So it was good to see. It was their best. Obviously, I think even on that front, it's Notre Dame's best defensive performance. And I know NC State, it's a good performance against a good offense, but like the rivalry with USC is a better offense or had been a better offense than NC State or Arkansas or Texas A&M or any of these teams. It's a good performance that Notre Dame put together. So, they should be proud of themselves. Ge Wang is in the chat today. The consigliere of your outfits, of your clothes, head over to esqclothing.com and those get you straightened out. Sunday just hits different after beating USC. 100%. That is true. Isaac K says, this was by far the best linebackers have played. It was fun to watch. Absolutely, Isaac. That's a great comment. And I agree with you. I thought they played a great game. CFB Hertz says Sneed was demonic out there last night. He was. Look, that's another guy like, Marcus Freeman talks so much about team glory and embracing your role, even though you're happy. I don't know. I have no idea how Jalen Sneed feels about his role. He doesn't play as much as Bowen. He doesn't play as much as KVA. Every time he gets in there, he's performing and ready to perform and play his role. He had a huge part in the 4th down stop late on 4th and inches where he's chasing the quarterback and he's going to make that play. A great job by Jalen Sneed, and he's been playing well this year. So it's great for Jalen Sneed to be performing this way. Adam Dowling says should have won that game by another score. On Bill Connolly's SB Plus his post game expectancy, Notre Dame with a 99.4% post-game win expectancy. So basically, you plug in all of the advanced stats and all of the success rates and all those other things, scoring opportunities and the game flow. Basically, you're looking at game flow. And if you put all that stuff into the computer and you simulate the game, Notre Dame is winning that game 99.4% of the time, and an adjusted scoring margin of 19. So to Adam's point, that is a fair point to make. They should have won. The metrics would say they win by that game by 19 points. So, it's a fair point by Adam on that. Tyler Wagner says, kind of like negotiating with terrorists, if you think about it, regarding USC. Wouldn't go that far, but why is Notre Dame acquiescing to USC? USC, I don't know that they are in a position to, be making demands of Notre Dame at this point. That's kind of how I feel about it. Adam Dowling, another comment. Have to give Ash and the defense credit. Amazing effort by the defense holding SC to 24. You got to give Chris Ash credit. 100%. I know that everyone wants to say Marcus Freeman did this and took over and all these other things. Chris Ash is the defensive coordinator, and he's got to work in conjunction with the head coach. He doesn't have to do that. He doesn't. He still has to make the play calls. He still has to implement the game plan. He still has to know. And look at the guy's steady on the sideline. I give him credit. He was much maligned to start the year, and that's a very difficult position to be in. Obviously, they're doing a lot better. They've played a lot better. And so credit to him. I mean, they've played some, and here's the other part too, by the way. There was a ton of conversation about the way the quarterbacks that Notre Dame faced last year. I mean, you look at Marcel Reed, you look at Carson Beck, you look at CJ Bailey, you look at Taylor Green has performed against ranked opponents in the SEC every single week, but for playing Notre Dame, right? That's a good quarterback. CJ Bailey is a good quarterback, right? Maddox Madsen, who's like the fifth, sixth best quarterback. I mean, he was one of the best quarterbacks Notre Dame faced last year. Notre Dame did not face a bunch of good quarterbacks this year. Jaden Mayava, leading the country in passer efficiency. Like, they are playing a much better quarterbacks than they have in the past, and they have pulled it together, and they have come up with good performances. You have to give Chris Ash credit for that 100%. Ed S says, did Marcus and Riley shake hands after the game? So I got a lot of questions about this. I think what happened is Marcus Freeman was going in the middle of the field to meet Lincoln Riley. And while that handshake is about to happen, Jeremiyah Love runs to the end zone and dry humps the end zone. And so I think that's when it happened. So because when it shows Lincoln Riley walking back after that, he's walking back like away from the middle of the field. So that's when I think it happened. I do think they shook hands. So we're monitoring. But I don't think that's the thing. CFB Hertz going back to the comment from the previous podcast mentioned. They might mean clunker in the sense that both teams made a bunch of mental errors. Haven't seen their show yet. I mean, the split zone duo. Look, mental errors doesn't make a clunker. It was a good football game. Like, it was an exciting football game. I don't know what that's about. So, it is what it is. I don't want to get in too far because I just disagree with I just disagree with the take just wholeheartedly. CFB Hertz says, what really impressed about the defense was that they managed to largely shut down both Lemon and USC's running game, really limited what USC could do with the ball. Absolutely. It was things they had to do to win. And look, credit to USC and Jaden Mayava. Like, they clearly made plays when they needed to. Early in the game, Lincoln Riley had Notre Dame spinning on defense. They weren't getting set up. They weren't really. I mean, they didn't cover Tanu Kynes on a 3rd and 10. They didn't have Christian Gray anywhere near close to the coverage. So, and that's a bummer for Christian Gray. Like, he probably takes the L on that, like, as far as the receiving stats go, which is a bummer for him. But yeah. Harold Eustache says Price and Love will go down in history as Notre Dame legends. Certainly regarding to this rivalry, 100%. I mean, they've dominated USC. Billy Strouth, another comment from Harold Eustache. This is a good comment. Billy Strouth played insanely good, 100%. What a great performance from Billy Strouth. I mean, just gutty, right? I mean, it's 2 years in a row against USC. He's hobbling around and playing his butt off. So this is a great comment from Harold to give him some credit because he played a great football game. He played injured, came back injured, and then he got hurt again. So, I mean, they're carrying him off the field. So that's, again, a kind of a legendary performance that goes down in the annals of this rivalry. CFP Hurts, Elijah Hughes made some big boy plays. Let's check out Elijah Hughes. I remember one specifically where he got in there and did some good stuff. Elijah Hughes, 73 grade, 1 total pressure, 2 tackles, 2 run stops. So to the point of CFP Hurts, I mean, we could just look 27 run stops from the team. Now, obviously, you can share tackles on this as well. So, USC, I don't know, actually ran the ball 29 times. They didn't get a run stop every single time, but when you have assisted tackles, that makes sense. So Elijah Hughes with 2 run stops. So that's a good comment by CFB Hurts there. Anthony Ferran says, Freeman is such a class act. What a leader of those young men. It's amazing. He changed so much at Notre Dame, but still maintained the rich tradition. Yeah, it's a great point. That's what a lot of people like about Marcus Freeman. He's fully bought into the university and what they're trying to be. I don't want to. We don't need to bring up other coaches, but that's something that not other coaches have done. So that's a good point. Harold with another comment here. Leonard Moore made Lemon look human. Moore is exceptional, obviously, and him being healthy has changed the defense. It's a great point by Harold again. Another great point. It's absolutely true. He obviously lifts the ceiling of what the defense can be, and he unlocks part of what the defense is trying to accomplish. Sergio says Christian Gray is injured. He could barely run and was laboring badly on deeper routes. Looked like he was favoring a thigh or hammy. It's possible. I mean, he's played a bunch of snaps. He's played a bunch of games. He needs a break. So it's a good comment. Stubborn Mick. Honestly, I chalk up Carr's game to being too amped for this game because of how critical it was. I mean, that certainly seems to be the case, right? I mean, just missing throws and being high with throws and, overthrowing Pauling a couple of times, overthrowing Faison, overthrowing Malachi Fields in the end zone. I mean, look at he had a slant there for Will Pauling. He put it right on him. And Will Pauling makes the catch. Will Pauling's had drop issues. He had drop issues at Wisconsin. It's in the rain. It's a huge play, right, to get in the end zone there. So he did make plays, and that's important to point out as well. 16-26. Obviously, it's not a great passing game, but he did throw for the touchdown, and it is badly needed. Just going through some more comments. Here we go from Andrew Callan. Can you speak to the wisdom of having your best wide receiver, maybe wide receiver 1 in college football, sprint sideways across the entire field where he can't look downfield to target a lesser wide receiver threat? A $100 million play design. Obviously making reference to Lincoln Riley's contract. I'd have to go back and look again. On the first look at it on replay, I didn't even really see a receiver down the field. Like, I don't know what they were even trying to do in that situation. If I'm a USC fan, I'm just losing my mind at that. I don't know what he's thinking. I don't know why on 1st and 10 after you hit a long pass, you think you need to do that. Why are you doing that? There's no need for it. Again, what's the upside? What's the upside? What are you trying to accomplish? Why run a play like that is designed to be anything less than a touchdown? And you can't have him throw a touchdown, a deep ball, because it's wet and raining and he has gloves on. What are you thinking? Some of these guys, and Jamie has made this point, they can't help themselves but to design these plays and install them in a game when they just have no business even thinking about a play like that, right? And obviously, I mean, it goes a long way. Because look, at Notre Dame, I can't remember what they did on that actual drive, but after the turnover, but it keeps you from scoring. You know, it just it's I was stunned. I mean, I wasn't stunned in the sense that like this is what Lincoln Riley does, but it's just like, how can you do that? How can you put your team in that position? I mean, he said it afterwards. It was a stupid thing. I mean, he used those words. It was stupid. And it was, it just absolutely was. Just going back to some other comments. Lemon used to play quarterback, I guess. I mean, look, all these guys have played quarterback at some point or whatever. I mean, it just doesn't mean you should throw. I mean, Jordan Faison is a played quarterback. He can throw the ball. It doesn't mean you need to do it in the rain. I'm just looking at some more comments here. Dario Milanes, let's go. I've never seen you in the chat before, Dario. Thank you for being here with us. Vamos Irish says Drake is a former running back. Yes, he is. He's a very good football player. Nick says, Dodger fan, boo this man, go Cubs. Should have beat the Brewers. RSPC or SPE. I live in SC country, and for a team who doesn't need Notre Dame, there was a lot of people sporting their SC gear. That win was awesome. Yeah, that's that talking point. What a dumb thing, Colin Coward. Who needs who? It's a 100-year rivalry, man, and you're talking about it like leverage and deal. Get out of here. This game's been played before any of us were born. Like when our grandparents were like teenagers. Get out of here. Out of here, bro. Pat Subkowski says, did you catch the great moment on the sidelines between Freeman and Ash after the big fourth down stop? Great to see that, especially how the defense started the year. Yes, I did see that. They were fired up. Chris Walls says, Hayes Fawcett just tweeted that NC and Notre Dame got 2 silent commits last night. Monitoring. Look for updates on irishsportsdaily.com. I received some text messages during this show. Monitoring. David Becker says, how is SC not called for a grounding in the second half? Okay, so I went back and looked. The tight end is blocking. And Mayava throws the ball at his feet. The refs, in their wisdom, are saying that he had disengaged with the block, even though he's still looking at the blocker, and the blocker had gotten away from him, but he's still like looking to block him when Mayava throws the ball at his feet. That was their interpretation. It is what it is. USC called for 1 penalty. Notre Dame called for 8.96. I mean, look, they missed some. I thought they missed some calls on Notre Dame that USC could have benefited from. Officiating's bad in college football across the board, and it's going to be bad every single week. So it just is what it is. What can you say about them at this point? They don't do a good job, and it's just it is what it is. You're just going to have to deal with it. I mean, there's no getting away from it. You look across college football, it's not ACC refs. It's not any single conference's referees. They simply do not do a good enough job. And I don't know what the fix is. And I don't think anyone does. And honestly, I don't know what the impetus for college football is if they think it's a problem that they need to fix it. So it's something we just have to deal with every single week, no matter who the refs are. They just don't do a good job. And every team is going to look at the calls that go against their team and say that they're biased or whatever. I don't know. I know that Notre Dame got called for 8 for 96 and USC got called 1 for 5, right? And obviously Notre Dame has 70 plays in the game, and Notre Dame has 70 plays in the game, and our USC has 71 plays. There's 141 plays total in the game, and there's one penalty called on USC. Like, I doubt that they only committed one foul throughout that entire time, but it is what it is. It's just it's a problem that they need to solve, and they need to look into the reasons why. If you have a problem with finding things to do and finding different activities to get you going, to get your blood going, get that heart rate up, like the refs do. They raise our heart rate, and if you want to raise your heart rate in an organic way, in a good way, and you could do so with Notre Dame fans in the community. Do that with pickleball, H2 Pickleball, founded by Notre Dame alum Todd Hill. He's teaming with fellow alums Jack Gibbs and Will Howells, who's a top 10 pickleball pro, to bring Notre Dame fans to Notre Dame Pickleball Crew League. Besides football, what better way to connect and engage Notre Dame fans than through pickleball? Membership is free. Members will have access to special pickleball events and discounts. The next event will be a Will Howells Pickleball Clinic on the Friday before the Syracuse game. Members can also get discounted tickets to the Syracuse game. Contact Todd at h2pickleball.com or reach him at 574-339-5195 to join the league. Be sure to visit the H2 Pickleball facility in Mishawaka when you are in town. H2 Pickleball is located at 55801 Evergreen Plaza Drive in Mishawaka, Indiana. Pat Subkowski says, can we really call it a dry hump? Phil had to be soaked. Fair point. It's a fair point, Pat. Michael Park says moist hump. Moist hump. Mickey Irish, what do you think was up with Carr pressing too much? Yeah, I think so. I think it just wanted it too much. He was amped up. Vamos Irish says Marcus Freeman looked weird in a hat. Is this the first time he's ever worn a hat in a game? I was thinking that. He did look weird, but I liked it when he had it pulled down. Like, it was very mysterious. Very mysterious. Kevin M says, hey, Greg. Oh, this is Kevin. This is Kevin Mackerel. I think that's Kevin Mackerel. Hello. Hello to you. If that is you, Kevin. And my prayers to you. You've got some stuff going on, and I know that. And so prayers to you and the family. You're going through a tough time, and I understand that. But I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you're enjoying this victory. I hope you're doing well, and I hope the family is doing well. My love to all of you. Kevin says, I just watched the USC post game. That was fun. Inside Troy talking about Notre Dame making a lot of dumb mistakes, but then not being able to capitalize. That was fun. Yeah, I mean, look, it's a time-honored tradition of, being, especially for me, it's like, Notre Dame beats. I made a joke. What I used to do is, now there's podcasts and everything, but back in the day, when the podcasts weren't as popular, if Notre Dame beats USC, like, I would find a way to drive around the city and listen to sports talk radio. The opponent tears are just, it's part of it. It's part of this rivalry for me personally. It may not be for all of you, but for me, it's 100% a part of it's a part of the experience. So, Kevin M says, Greg, I read PFF Onye was 90 plus. Yes, we mentioned that. Yeah, don't hear his name being mentioned on all Notre Dame media. Thoughts? He had a great game. I mentioned him earlier, the 2 run stops that he had, and it was a big deal. We mentioned him a good bit ago, so that's good. Oh, my boy, Jamel Frazier. Y'all listening to the best football player I've ever played with. So I've known Jamel since I was 10, 11. Went to middle school together. I'm trying to think if it was before that, about 10, 11. He's one of my best friends. We went to high school together, played high school football with Jamel. And he's a USC fan, obviously. All my high school friends are USC fans. So Jamel's a good football player himself. So he went to Zoo Pacific and played football. He played corner. Jamel was the offensive player of the year in our league for football. So for high school football, he's a great running back. So good to see you here, buddy. We were texting during the game yesterday. He's having a tough time at the USC, man. It's very frustrating, but Jamel's my boy. Thanks for being here, buddy. I appreciate it. Randall L, can we give Greg a little space to rant about the refs? I don't want to get into it about the refs too much. Like it's just some of these calls are borderline, and you could call them or not. I thought the ground, like, it's just one of those things sometimes where I will say this: they didn't call a bunch of holding, right? So and like that was Notre Dame's benefit. Like I saw plays throughout the game, like you could have got holds there on Notre Dame, and they didn't, you know. And so look, you got to take it the way it comes, right? They were calling it very close on a lot of the PI stuff, and that was not to Notre Dame's benefit. They weren't calling it close on the holding inside, which was to Notre Dame's benefit, or it was the USC's benefit on the PIs. It was Notre Dame benefit on holding inside. And so you just got to take it as it comes. You know, what I will say is I don't, of all of the officiating debacles, like the only one that has truly cost Notre Dame was the mishold against Texas A&M on the game-winning touchdown. Obviously, that one has a huge impact, but the rest of it is just annoying. It's annoying. It hasn't affected outcomes of games, and it just is what it is. They're just bad. Like it's a bad product, you know, from a refereeing standpoint. And I think the replay is just as bad too. Like I don't think honestly, it's almost worse because you have time to actually look at it. So, you know, or Irish Gordy or not, which head coach gets fired first today? I mean, Norvell monitoring. We are monitoring Mike Norvell. It just, you know, I mean, the guy beats Alabama in one of the biggest wins for the program in a long time. I mean, they went 12-0 or whatever it was that one year, but I mean, you beat Alabama at home, and then you lose 4 straight, and you go to Stanford and lose. Just an absolute collapse. Disgraceful. Oh my God. So we're monitoring that situation. So, and we got to monitor Florida. A lot of big jobs are coming open, none of which are going to be taken by Marcus Freeman because Notre Dame is a better job than all of those jobs. Jamil, he says you guys held on so many running plays that hurt my heart so much. Yeah, that's what I mean. You got to take it as it comes, right? Like they got the benefit of USC got the benefit of the PIs, and Notre Dame got the benefit of the lack of holding inside. Like it was just, it just is what it is, you know. Ron Kotecki says Greg is a pro. Hit the like and subscribe. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to our channel. It's free. We love free things. You know, we love to do things for free, and you can subscribe to us for free. Mark Lott says, great blocking on the kick return. Burnham drives his man into the sideline, and 2 players pancake a USC Trojan near midfield. Thing of beauty. Like, again, Josh Burnham, right? Like, he is nowhere near playing the number of snaps that he wants to play, right? I mean, you go back and look. How many snaps did Josh Burnham play on defense? 16 snaps on defense. Like, he wants to play more than that. He can play more than that. He started playoff games for Notre Dame last year, right? But there he is on kickoff return, springing a touchdown, helping Notre Dame win. Like, it's amazing to me how Marcus Freeman can get his players to buy into his message. That honestly, it's one of his best traits. It's like he's so good at that. So, you know, it's a credit to him. Antoine Rudeau says, can you explain the passing play Notre Dame did at the 2-yard line where they could have went up 21-10? So they tried to fake inside, and then they tried to get one of the tight ends. It might have been Cooper Flammang. They wanted to get Cooper Flammang on a little corner route. Obviously, you want USC biting in that position on the corner route. And then they tried to get Raritan in the flat. Both were covered. And so when that happens, it's just Carr's got to just throw it away because they don't have anyone coming up across. Like he's scrambling to an area of the field where Notre Dame has no players. Like, what are you doing? You can't scramble to an area of the field and you have no players there and you have no wide receivers. It's just like you got to just chuck it, man. Just get it out of here and get some kind of points or maybe run another play on fourth down, right? I said, like, Dan Brock's got to stop putting CJ Carr in that position because he keeps making that mistake. He's done it over and over again on these third shorts, these fourth and shorts. You can't trust him. And you know, people got upset about the tweet and said, the quarterback has to know. It's not about what he has to know. Like, I know that, but he has shown you over and over again, he's willing to do the wrong thing. So stop putting him in position to do the wrong thing. So, oh my God, Anthony Frank. Okay, this is crazy. This is crazy. Anthony Frank. So I can't believe this is you. So played ball back in the day with Greg at Temple City. He was a dude then. Love listening to your take on Notre Dame now. He and his dad, stand-up dudes. Wow. Like, I saw this name. I didn't even make the connection, Anthony. Thank you for being here, brother. I appreciate that. It's like a Temple City reunion up in here. Wow. That's good stuff. I appreciate you, brother. Nathaniel Paris says, I did feel like Notre Dame could have been called for holding out a few penalties on big 100%. 100%. Oh, sorry to disappoint. All right, I apologize. Well, I hope they're doing well. I found your work on Tyler on Locked On. Great shows. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, this is look at my boys here. We're having a reunion. Talked about the blast from the past. The dude was a ball player too. That's so funny. So funny. Sergio says, what is Freeman's contract? I mean, you don't know the terms exactly because Notre Dame, I think it was just extended. I know that. You don't know the terms on this stuff because Notre Dame is a private school and they don't have to release those terms. He makes a lot of money. Let's see. Just getting some more comments. Lebowski Services, great show. What do you think about 2 tailback set for short yardage? It is in the playbook. I mean, I'm beyond like trying to come up with what that Notre Dame could do. I'm beyond it. They could do lots of stuff. Don't do what you're doing, is I would say. Whatever they're doing, they just need to get better at it somehow. Come up with a plan. I feel like every week they have something else. They got the Wildcat. They ran the Wildcat like 9 times against Texas A&M. Don't run it once in this game. They just don't seem to have a great plan for this stuff. It's just, and it's hard because last year they were so, we're gonna snap it to Riley Leonard and he's gonna run up there. And look, the CJ Carr stuff was effective. It was effective against Miami. It's just that the one time Miami they blew the block. They blew the blocking assignment. So I don't mind the quarterback stuff. John Cooper says, looks like the fans stayed despite the weather. Good to see. It was a huge crowd. Huge crowd. Isaac K said, I look for Notre Dame to explore some options in short yardage just by a week. Yeah, I mean, I think they're reticent to run Carr because obviously don't want to get him hurt. But I think Carr is, I mean, it was like when he got hit going in the end zone there, you could kind of tell like I don't know, he wasn't concussed. I mean, they would have checked him, but he kind of had that look like, hey man, I need a second. Like he got hit hard. He's just not used to that. But I think it's an option for sure. It's something that they can do, and it's been effective, and they can block it up. And Jeremiyah Love's a really good blocker in that situation. So, Vamos Irish says they need to stop loading up 10 shoulder to shoulder, spread it out. Yeah, that's an option. It's definitely an option. I mean, I think the thing is though, is you can always bring down those safeties in on the goal line there, right? And they can get outnumbered. And then the defense kind of forces you to throw too. Because the thing is like they'll just play 4 across or whatever it might be. And you're not going to sit a safety deep in that situation. So your numbers are all, all messed up. Kevin says, is Joe Otting coming in and playing a remarkable game a theme for Freeman's tenure? The idea you could replace someone else. People have doubts, should just ball out. I mean, yeah, like we saw it last year, next man in, that whole thing. Guys come in, people always talk about, and we got the question yesterday on the post game. Is it one injury too many to Stroud? It's like, how can you say that? You can't say it. Notre Dame they had some huge injuries last year to players that if you knew they were hurt and they were going to be hurt throughout the year, you'd be like, well, that's too much. I mean, they lost Ben Morrison, they lost Riley Mills, that Howard Cross was injured all year, they lost Charles Jagusa, Jeremiyah Love got hurt during the playoff run. I mean, just some of the biggest injuries you could have. Jordan Botelho got hurt, Boubacar Traore got hurt, Ashton Craig got hurt. Like, there were so many injuries last year, and they found a way to make the playoffs and make the national title game. So this team has a way of figuring things out. But I'm all caught up in the chat, so I am going to end it there. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. If you like what you heard, hit that like, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. So it is. We are going live. We'll be back with Power Hour tomorrow with Mike and Jamie. We'll get Jamie's thoughts on this game. He's traveling back. Hopefully he travels safe. And then we'll be back on Tuesday for In Hustle. So enjoy the day, everyone. Enjoy the Notre Dame victory over USC, 34-24. We will talk to you tomorrow. Keep hitting and hustling.